1 week away, PT, from the start of the Eagles season. Of course, the NFL kicks off Thursday night with the Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm excited to have football back. Knock on wood if you're with me. But yesterday on the program, Scotty McKay and I gave our predictions, so I wanted to get our first guest, or second guest on to tell me where I went wrong. So let's go.
Everywhere.
You can catch our first guest. He's with the NFL Network. It's Fox Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Baldy NFL for Baldy's breakdowns. Let's go to the Barb's Harley-Davidson Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room a good friend of the show, Brian Baldwinger. What's up, Baldy?
Billy, Pete, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm like you. I'm counting down the hours to kickoff here. I think people are just jonesing. Just watching college football this weekend a little bit, It was awesome, man. It was awesome seeing the stands full, and it's been a long time, so I can't wait to get that feeling back.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Seeing the stands and some of the clips we got,
Wisconsin, Camp Randall was going nuts. Yeah,
Virginia Tech and everything.
Awesome.
I was pumped up, man.
No doubt, and it's a big part of it. Let's face it. I mean, it's a big part of people's Sundays. It's a big part of the tailgating. And just getting out and enjoying the day, I think we all need to get back there. I think it's a healing thing. It's a fun thing. And it's a big part of playing at home is getting that home crowd going, and playing good in front of them.
Yo, Bald, are you in a 3-point stance?
Was he in one? Is that what you're asking him?
He's in a 3-point stand right now.
Oh, right now he's ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many more 3-point stances I have left. I can only talk about it really right now.
All right, Baldy. Yesterday we broke down what we thought the division might look like. I thought I'd get you on because I love your Baldy breakdowns. It reminds me of being in college. Being in the film room with the coaches. I really enjoy your breakdowns. But yesterday I had the Eagles, and I want you to tell me where I went wrong. I think the Cowboys win the division at 9-8. I have the Eagles and the Washington football team at 8-9, and then the Giants pulling up the rear at 6-11. Only because the NFC East struggled last year. The one key factor for all these teams is staying healthy.
Yeah, I mean that's every year. That never changes, the health aspect. You lose your starting quarterback, it's hard. Keep people and. The 49ers last year losing Nick Bosa in the second week of the season. I mean, they never really recovered. I mean, there's just certain players that are irreplaceable. So, but that being said, I see it a little bit different. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've been down to Washington. I did one of their preseason games this year. I talked to the head coach down there. I just think Washington's in good shape. I think their defense is better than anybody's in the division. I think Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heineke are going to be just fine. In fact, I think a lot of teams should take a look at what Washington is doing. Build your team up. Build it up for as long as you can with quarterbacks that, might not, cost you an arm and a leg. And then when you're ready to get your franchise quarterback, when you plug him in, you're going to have a good team for him to play with. And I think too many teams go the other way. They just try to get the quarterback and they never build the team. I like Washington's team. I like the way they're coached. I think they're the best team in the division.
4 years in a row, they draft their number one pick, and is their defensive line. I mean, obviously one of the, if not the strongest defensive line in all of NFL. I agree to that, but maybe their safeties, their secondary might be a little suspect.
Nah, they've really upgraded. I mean, you look at Cam Curl last year, their 7th-round pick at Arkansas. He took over for Landon Collins, and in fact, he was an improvement. Now Landon is back this year. They brought in William Jackson from Cincinnati. I think he's going to play really well at right corner with an improved pass rush and a much better defense. They draft Jamin Davis, and he's just going to get better as the season goes on. He's probably going to end up with 100 tackles or more. I just think you're in good shape at every level of defense right now.
Brian Baldwinger is with us on the Barb's Harley-Davidson Hotline, NFL Network, Fox Sports, Compass Media. He's jonesing for football, getting ready to officially start like we are. And, Baldy, Billy threw out his predictions. I'm not going to throw them out as much as I'm going to say to you, are the Eagles going to be as bad or are they going to be better than people think they're going to be? Because there's not a lot of optimism in the
over
people
and under
I
6.5, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, they won 4 games last year. I mean, it was 4-11-1. You got to own that. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. They were 4-11-1. Yeah, like it was embarrassing. But the offensive line completely broke down last year. Lane Johnson was getting surgery before the season started on that ankle of his. I love this offensive line. I think Jordan Mailata is a beast. I think they're going to get Landon Dickerson in there at some point. He's going to be a beast. I love Lane Johnson and his abilities. I think they could be a top 3 to top 5 offensive line in football. They're going to be able to run the ball. Miles Sanders should be a good. Jalen Hurts will run. He'll be a part of it. I like Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis, their 5th-round pick. They're going to be able to run it. Now, what else they can do, I'm not really sure. I don't know how well they're going to throw it. I don't know how well they're going to stop teams from throwing it. But I think they're going to be good in the trenches, and they're going to be a really good running football team. And normally, when you do that, you can stay in a lot of football games playing that way. So, I don't know if it's 6.5, it's 7.5. I mean, I think that's probably a decent number for them as they kind of rebuild right now.
So you said they're going to be able to run the ball, but they're also going to have not one but 2 quality tight ends in Ertz and Goddard. And when the season ended last year, and that was much hyped on all the news stations and all the highlight shows of Ertz, crying and thinking it was the last time he was walking off Lincoln Financial Field. Were you surprised that, or are you surprised that Zach Ertz is still on this football team? You played the game. Give me your take on the whole Ertz situation and the full circle that it's come.
Well, I mean, I think the Eagles tried really hard to trade him. There just wasn't a lot of takers for a guy who's, north of 30, not a good blocker, more of just a flex, tight end. And he was really good in that role. But I at the price tag that he comes with right now, there just wasn't a lot of interest out there. A lot of teams, that if they want an extra tight end, they put an extra tackle in there. Teams will do that. The Eagles did that for a long time as well. And so Goddard can certainly man the position. He's a true Y, I'm a guy that can block and run and catch and all those things. I mean, I think they tried. And at the end they said, look, we've got him under contract. We know he can be valuable. If we can't, we're not just going to give him away. And so I'm not taking a shot at Zach. I mean, he's just not a good blocker. And if you can't block or, hold the point, you're really going to, it's going to be a lot easier to defend the offense like that.
Baldy, what do you make of the Eagles picking up Gardner Minshew in a trade last week?
Not much. I mean, he's going to take Nick Mullins' place. Nick Mullins was the 3rd quarterback. The upgrade to 3rd quarterback. I mean, Howie Roseman has this, it's not a fetish. I mean, it's not an unsound football. It's not an unsound football, perspective, but, he likes to think like they collect quarterbacks and develop them, and then they can trade them. And, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, they gave up, a 6th-round pick for Gardner Minshew. The one thing about Gardner and everybody that comes out of that style of offense that he came out of under Mike Leach is, they're big wide receiver, 5-wide teams, get the ball out of your hands as quick as possible. And that's good, and Gardner can do that, except when, they take that first read away, or they disguise the defense, you're not really sure. Like these guys, they don't really know how to play. They don't have an answer. And so that's just the way they've been trained since they were in 8th grade. And that's the weakness I see in Gardner is, and sometimes I feel the same way about Jalen. Jalen's just a much better athlete than Gardner, and he can really run. So, but you got to be able to stay in that pocket and really what the defense will dictate where to go with the ball. You can't always pre-script where you want to go with it. And that's what Jalen's got to learn. That's what Gardner's got to learn. And I don't know if you can learn it. I mean, Josh Allen did, but he was rare.
Brian Baldwinger's with us here on the Locker Room with Billy Schweim and Pete Thompson. And, Baldy, one of the things Billy and I have gone back and forth with since preseason started was just the nature of preseason and how things are changing in the NFL. You know where I'm going with this because, you know, some of the vets would go to the Eagles practices and an hour later it was over and the vets are looking at each other like, that was it? What the hell was that? That was a practice? You know, and the whole tendency to not play anybody, all vanilla, not show anything. It's driving Billy crazy because he doesn't understand why,
Get off my lawn.
you know, Mahomes is going to play a half or Brady will play a quarter. And,
Kyler Murray played a whole half.
And what did Jalen Hurts have in the preseason? 2 stinking series. So what are your thoughts on the way preseason is changing and evolving?
Well, you know, the Eagles scrimmaged twice this year. 2-day scrimmage against the Patriots, 2-day scrimmage against the Jets. I went to those. I saw the Jets up in Green Bay scrimmage. They're getting a lot of quality work in, and that's where it's going. I mean, they're gonna end up. And I talked to Howie Roseman about this up at the Jets when they were scrimmaging up there. I mean, they're gonna have scrimmages against other teams, and they'll open up, you know, the link and probably sell tickets or, you know, I don't know, maybe not even charge parking, whatever, but they'll. You know, they're going to, like in Green Bay, they had scrimmages up there. They had 50,000 people there. You know, I think that's where it's going to go. I've always believed in what Andy Reid believed in preseason. Like, you got to play your guys. You got to build calluses. They've got 5 new starters in their offensive line. You don't just, like, click your fingers and magically 5 new guys all play together and think like one. I mean, they got 2 rookies in there, actually, if you count Lucas Niang as a rookie because he opted out last year. I mean, they got 3 rookies up there, a new left tackle and a guard they brought in free agency and Joe Thuney. You know, so he played Patrick Mahomes, and that offensive line played all preseason games. You know, the Los Angeles Rams, they didn't play 1 starter in the preseason. So it's just a different philosophy. I personally think you'll have less injuries and you'll play better at the start of the season if you play in preseason. You got to hit. You got to be hit,
right?
And so your body can react once you get to September 12th.
And Baldy, these practices, joint practices.
Amen, by the way.
these joint practices. I mean, the quarterback's still wearing red jerseys. They can't be hit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like you know, you don't really. Like, I didn't play obviously professional football. I played college football. You have to have that speed and have to get hit a few times to feel what the pressure feels like. So you're making the right decisions when you actually get in there for game time.
No doubt. And like, I'm a huge fan of Justin Fields, and he will be in there, I believe, before, you know, the calendar turns to October as a starter. But we all saw the highlight of him literally getting his head knocked off. And look, I mean, he got right
Trevor
up the next
Lawrence.
play. Yeah, you know, and so like sometimes it's, you know, it's the quarterback's fault. Like, you got to learn. You got to see the blitz. You know, and I don't know if it was Justin's fault or the offensive line. I mean, it's hard to tell, but it doesn't matter. The fact is that sometimes getting hit like that, you know, and first of all, Justin Fields was fine. He wasn't concussed. He put his helmet on, went back in the huddle, called the next play. But sometimes you got to get hit like that, and you got to be shocked, and you go, oh, that's a good wake-up call.
Right.
It's part of the game.
Hey, Baldy, what about our arch nemesis, our arch rival, the Dallas Cowboys? Dak Prescott obviously coming off a gruesome injury last year. They've got you know, their wide receivers, Amari Cooper. You know, they've got some talent. Ezekiel Elliott. Their offensive line was banged up. I believe they've got one of the offensive linemen opted out last year. So what do you make of Dallas's chances this year?
Well, you know, I was just watching Hard Knocks. I don't know if you guys caught any episodes, but, you know, I work in NFL film, so my guys produced that show. But I was just watching the last Hard Knocks. I didn't see Dak throw one meaningful pass in the whole show. Like, I don't know how, like, they're out there every day filming this stuff, you know? Like, he hasn't played since October 11th. You know, and he's going up against Tampa, which just got done chasing Patrick Mahomes all over the field to win a Super Bowl. But I just didn't agree with Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones of just sitting Dak. Like, if he's healthy, then I think he had to play in the preseason. Just everybody, I don't care. If you ain't done a radio show in 10 months, you got to knock the rust off. I mean, whatever it is you do.
Well done. Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think they missed an opportunity against Jacksonville in the last preseason game to play Dak and knock some rust off and get ready for Thursday night. I don't expect Dak to be good on Thursday night. I don't expect Dallas to be good. Although I'll say this. That rookie, Micah Parsons, that kid is some ball player, man. Like, just watching him in 3 preseason games, they're building the whole defense around him. Like, he's blitzing. He's playing outside linebacker. He's off the ball, inside linebacker. He's all over the field. And he's the center. Like, you will not take your eyes off number 11. He's so fast, and he's a great tackler, and he can cover. Like, he can do it all. I haven't seen a player come into the league like that since maybe DeMarcus Ware.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what.
Coming out of Penn State,
Yeah.
the linebacker factory, he obviously was coached well and trained well. But, yeah, I've been watching the Hard Knocks, Baldy. I've been enjoying it, even though it's against the team that I grew up hating. That Hard Knocks sucks me in every time. Da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, it's on. I got to watch it. Da-da-da.
So, Baldy, let's make this clear then. You like Washington. You think Washington's the strong team in the NFC East? I guess that doesn't say much left about the New York Giants and Daniel Jones.
I'll share this with you. I was talking to Ron Rivera before the game against Cincinnati, their second preseason game, and I was doing a game, and we're just having like just a general football conversation, and he just said something really caught my ear. He said, "Baldy," he goes, "I know we got a lot of good players, but I don't know if we're a good team." And so I think that's a lot of coaches. Like, wow. I think they think they're improved. I think they think, they've got certain players in the right position, and they're being well coached. But you still got to go out there and play. And you got to find ways to scratch out these wins. And when things don't go well, calls go against you, or you turn the ball over, whatever it is, when you're in a hole, you got to come out of the hole. Like, can you do that? And, it remains to be seen if they can really do that. So, but I think they've got a lot of really good players. And I think whether they start off good or not, I think they're the best team in the division. Daniel Jones made that interception against the Patriots in the end zone, last weekend. And I just shook my head. He's in his 3rd year. It was a horrible – if it was Josh Allen as a rookie when he made a play like that, I go, okay, it's a rookie. But Daniel Jones in his 3rd year, like that play, it just – I know it's just one play and it's preseason, blah, blah, blah. But you can't make that throw. You just can't. It's it's just – I don't care who you are. Like, you need to be ripped for that. And to do it in your 3rd season, it just, and then to watch the left tackle struggle the way y'all did all last year, I just go, like, are they any better on offense? I know Saquon's going to get in there, and they didn't play any of these guys, Kadarius Toney, and I understand all that. But still, the quarterback has got to make better decisions than that.
Brian Baldwinger making good decisions by coming on the locker room with Billy and I. That's at least the way we look at it. Baldy, just in case, we're familiar with it, but if our listeners aren't, again, all the platforms they can, we only have a couple more minutes left, but the platforms they can find you on, and Billy keeps mentioning the Baldy Breakdowns, how you find those, and just kind of allow us to know where we find you and where we can get all your insight.
You can always catch me at Baldy NFL on both Twitter and Instagram. So I constantly put new posts on there every single day.
I love it.
I got the NFL has a YouTube channel for me, Baldy's Breakdowns. All the stuff I do for the league and for the NFL Network all go to that YouTube channel. I'll be doing NFL Now and Total Access throughout the season on NFL Network, and I'll do a college game here and there for Fox, and I'll do the national game of the week. I'm in Kansas City next Sunday for Cleveland, Kansas City.
Okay.
I do the National Compass Media every week. And, Sky Sports, if you're over in London, just looking at Big Ben, you can catch me on Sky Sports over in the UK, every Tuesday. So,
it's all over the place.
It's football season.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's football season.
One last thing I'm going to leave you with, Baldy. The NFC East is the only division containing 4 current teams that have at least one Super Bowl championship. Of course, the Cowboys have 5, Giants 4, Redskins 3, Eagles 1, which makes it pretty interesting for the NFC East. I like that stat.
NFC least, but okay.
Well, that's true. In the 80s, it was the heyday of the NFC East. With Parcells and Buddy Ryan and Tom Landry. It was, Joe Gibbs. It was the heyday of professional football in my mind. And, it's hard to replace great coaches, and a lot of teams are, trying to find that guy. The Eagles are trying to find that guy. The Giants want to see. The Cowboys want to see. I think Washington's got their guy, but, everywhere else, everybody's kind of evaluating right now.
By the way, Baldy, earlier this summer, we did have an opportunity, and it was our pleasure. We had Jimmy Johnson on the program when he was down here with his fishing tournament, and we asked him if he had the chance to bury the hatchet with one Buddy Ryan. And he
James
said
David Buddy Ryan, and he said he did.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's important.
Yeah.
That's important. And respecting that coaching fraternity, and so I'm glad he was able to do that. I wasn't sure if that thing, was that wound was left open or.
Well, he said he did, and it was kind of cool. Pete and I have a newfound respect for Coach
came
Johnson.
away, Brian. I came away. Because everybody talks about the Herschel Walker trade and how it changed the Cowboys, but then I forgot that the league didn't do like a lot of movement back then. And I guess when Jimmy Johnson was both coach and basically picking the talent, that he made like 53 or 54 trades at a time when the league when the league didn't do stuff like that. So I kind of walked away from that conversation thinking you know what, Jimmy Johnson probably was a pretty darn good talent evaluator.
Well, you got to think he came out of Oklahoma State and out of Miami. He recruited a lot of those kids, or tried to recruit them to one of those two schools, and so he knew these players. Free agency hadn't started yet.
Right.
The team he built in 90, 91, 92 before free agency hit, that team was so deep. Their second team could have made the playoffs. Steve Berline, the backup offensive line, with Crawford Curry guys. I mean, he was a mastermind. He loves to gamble, but he loves the draft. I mean, that was his baby, man. The draft was that's what really perked him up in the offseason.
Well, Brian, listen, man, we really appreciate you taking time to come on the locker room, a great friend, and we really enjoy the Baldy's breakdowns and following you throughout the season. Baldy, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, guys. Take care, Billy. Pete, all the best, man.
All right, take care,
There
Baldy.
he is, Brian Baldinger.